Hello everybody, I'm T-Junkie and welcome back to this tutorial. Following on from my last video, we are going to do a quick UI which has 3 sliders on it for small, medium and large scale objects, which we set up yesterday, last video. And once that's done, we're going to go pop back into our camera distance culling script, and then we're going to get it all to work. So what we're going to do is, first what we're going to do is right click UI panel, and in the canvas I'm going to set it to scale with screen size, and I'm going to set the reference resolution to my native resolution, which is 1920 by 1080. That way when it scales it tries to match the aspect ratio as best as possible. So you don't have any stretching of the UI elements and all that sorts of stuff. That's out of proportion. Now if I click my panel in the scene, press F and then press the 2D button, this is how it looks on the game view. If I click game now, you see this whitewash, and that's basically what this is. So what we're going to do is, we don't need it to stretch the whole way, so I'm just going to hold shift and then click the top left to anchor it to the top left, and the width I can have it as 500. 500 would be alright. 500 by 300. That should be fine, yeah. Now we're just going to scale into here, scroll into here, sorry. And now I'm just going to create a UI text. Actually, I'm just going to import the Text Mesh Pro because that is way better. UI Text Mesh Pro, import the essentials. We shouldn't take too long, to be fair. There you go, all done. Now I'm just gonna anchor this to the top left, and then I'm gonna just move it myself. If it lets me move it myself. There we go. And I'm gonna say it's gonna be 5 from here and minus 5 from here, so it's away from the top. Auto size, and that should be fine. I'm just gonna call this small object render distance. And actually think about it, if I hold Alt and then I stretch it at the top, push 0 on the X, on the left, 0 on the right, the height is 30. Let's do it 40, just round it out. Actually I'm going to do 5 from each. That way it just looks better and it's not on the edge. If I hit the game view, you can see it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this 2 more times, and this one from the top is going to be 100, whoops, minus 100 I believe, and then this one here is going to be minus 200. And I'm just going to do this medium, and this is going to be large. I'm just going to focus on these for now, but you can add as many as you want, or you can combine these if you want. I'm just having, I go by policy, more options tends to be better, that way people can tweak it the way they like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a UI, and I'm going to create a slider, and I'm just going to attach it to the bottom of there. Is this all stretched? Yeah, it's stretched. And I'm just going to stretch it the same, and I'm going to drag it down to about there. And then do it a bit more, so about there. So that's minus 60, I believe. 65. Math's not good. So then what I do, if I duplicate this 2 more times, that'd be minus 165, and that'd be minus 265. And that'll basically gives us the sliders that we're going to use. I'm going to use top left. Now what we're going to do is we need to give these a name, I guess. So small obj slider, large obj slider. Oh, it's not renaming. That's not a large, is it? I don't know why I'm calling that large at the moment. It's medium. That's large. And that's large. Now we want to do something with this. Now if we open up our camera distance culling script, what I'm going to do is in the start function, I'm going to leave this camera in here, but what I'm going to do is call a public void update camera cull. That's just what I'm going to call that, update camera cull. I'm just going to grab this, cut it and put it here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this from the start function. And the reason why I've done this is so I can now call this function from another script if I need to. But for now, what I am going to do is I'm going to create a header, and in the header, and for everybody that doesn't know, I'm going to show you what a header is now. It's quite good to organize the hierarchy when you're using it. So I'm going to call this detail values. Underneath here I'm going to say public float min small obj distance, and then I'm just gonna copy this and say max, and this will be min medium, and that'll be max medium, and this will be min large, and that'll be max large. And to begin with, we're going to do the values we had before, so I'm going to have 50, I'm going to say this is equal to 15f. Is the minimum I want this, and the max I'm just going to leave blank. This one here I'm going to do 20f for now, and this one here I'm going to do 40f. Now, for testing purposes, I'm just going to set these all to the same, so that they can have the max of the same. And I'm just going to set these values here to the min small, min medium, min large, and I'm just going to cut this one out for now, and that way we've got this reference here. Now what I am going to do is in the update, I believe I might do it in here. Actually, do the sliders actually have this value? On value changed. Okay. So I'm just trying to think of a better way to do this. I might do the down and dirty quick way of doing this, or the proper way. I think I might keep it as simple as possible. So what I'm going to do is this calls to begin with to update these distances exactly the way we did it before, except now we've cast these. Now if I go into my script on my camera right now and I scroll down, you can now see my header, which is detail values, and you can see the values I've put in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new header. And I'm going to call this components. Actually, better, I might call this sliders instead. I'm going to say public slider, and you'll find that this does not work for now. What we need to do is we need to go up here and say using Unity engine, whoops, not that one, Unity engine.ui. And now slider will work fine. And then I'm going to call this small obj slider. And I'm going to say, then I'm just going to copy this 2 more times. And I'm going to say this is medium. And this is large. And I'm going to say public void small slider yeah, just call it small slider for now. And I'm just going to copy this 2 more times. I'm going to say it's medium slider. And this is going to be large again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say on here actually, to be fair, I don't think I need to use the max values at the moment. I'm going to comment these out. I might come back and use these, but I don't think I actually need to use these because the slider goes from 0 to 1, which is basically 0 to 100 if the way we're going to do it. So what we do is we go min small object distance equals small object slider dot value times by 100. Now what we are going to do in the start as well, in here I think, update camera call. No, I'm actually going to do this in the start because I want to call this at the end of the slide. So what I might actually do, yeah. So under here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say small object slider dot value equals min small object distance divided by 100, and I believe that works fine. We will test, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing twice for the medium object slider and the large object slider. Min medium and min large. There we go. Now this basically means what's going to happen is we've already got these set up predetermined. We're not setting these up through this at the start. So what it's going to do is it's going to find the camera, it's going to update the camera to have these values like we did yesterday, but in a slightly different way. We just cache them into a variable now. And then what we're going to do is underneath, after it's loaded them onto the camera, it's now going to set the sliders. So the sliders here are all going to adjust to be the percentage that we've actually set. And I believe I can actually just show you that now without actually having to do anything much more. So I'm going to minimize some of this. I don't need half that open. Right, so now we've got sliders here. And if I go to my small object slider, just drag that in. Medium object slider, just drag that in. and large object slider, just drag that in. And now, fingers crossed, if this works fine, as soon as it loads up, these sliders will manually adjust, well, automatically adjust, sorry. If we could play, and you can see they've automatically adjusted, which is perfect. Now what we all need to do is here, we've got small object distance equals small slide times 100. And then what we do is we just call update camera call. And it's as simple as that. Now we just copy that and put it in here. And this should technically work easy. Min medium, and that's going to be min large. That's going to be medium object slider, and that's going to be large object slider. Now if I save that off, now we're going to test this. So if I click play, and then hopefully it loads up, we've got that there. Now if I stand here, I'll push escape quickly. Oh, I've got to lock the camera cursor. If you have the same problem with me, it's a first person controller. The easiest way to do this is on the start. I believe it is cursor.lock state equals cursor.lockMode.none and cursor.visible equals true. And now what I'm going to do is, for the sake of this testing, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the FPS controller, first person controller, and disable the first controller script. Actually, I believe it's the character controller. I know in the old version of Unity there was 2 different scripts for this, to disable the mouse compared to the script. There you go. So now we've got it here. Now if we look at these cans, if I decrease the value of this, oh yeah, it's not going to work. I know why. Small object slider. If I select all these sliders quickly, and I say on value changed, I press the plus button, I drag the FPS controller in here, and now I'm just going to select one. I'm going to click the function, it's going to be camera distance culling script, and I'm going to say small slider. I believe I called it small slider. I surely named these better. Yeah, I did. So small slider. Now what you need to do is go to medium, same thing, medium slider, and large, camera distance culling, large slider. Now if all goes well, fingers crossed, as soon as I decrease this, as you can see, they're disappearing automatically. And now if I say I put this above, if I put this here, and I decrease the medium, as you can see, the mesh is being disabled, but like I was saying in the last video, the colliders are still there. So if you have rigid bodies like we do here, the rigid bodies are not just going to fall through because there's no longer an object there. It's still computing the colliders, so it will still work fine. Just because the player can't see it doesn't mean it's not going to collide. And this gives you freedom to play around. And as you can see, if you decrease this, it doesn't do every object automatically. It does only the objects that are that far away from the camera. See, I've decreased the small. The cameras in the background, you see over there, have disappeared. But the cameras here, because these are closer and still under this limit, they're still being rendered until we, of course, do that. And that. So this is a way of adding options for the player. And then when they've selected it, you might have like an apply button here, and it saves it to a JSON file or a binary file. So then you can save the player's preferences. Saves on rendering, set performance, etc. And I believe that more options like this, instead of just having one quality detailed distance, I think it's better to give the more control. You set up the bog standard one where your game performs comfortably at, and you just give these options here so people can still tweak it. And as I said, you can have decals, you can have foliage, which is bushes, grass. You could do the same thing here. I think Unity has a built-in thing for the grass, but if you are doing low poly work and you are creating low poly grass models, it's good to have like a grass layer, and you can set this manually so only the grass in a circle around the player gets rendered, similar to how the billboard drawn grass is done in Unity and games in general. Anyway, I hope this helped everybody. If you want me to expand on this, to do a safe system, or do you want to see any more with some graphics, maybe bring in some filters. Then this completely skipped my mind right now what you call it. I believe it is called I can't remember what it's called at the moment. Visual effects. It's basically the visual effects on the screen, like motion blur, anti-aliasing, anti-stropic filtering, those sorts of options. If you want me to go into more in depth, add those in, show you how to tweak those through scripts, and then save them. Just leave a comment in the comment section below. Anyway, I'm a T Junkie. Thank you all for watching, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.